Hello Laziali, welcome to another episode of Lazio Lounge. I'm Vittorio Campanile, with me as usual, Alistair McKenzie. Plenty of things to talk about, Alistair. Friendly matches, the Auronzo summer training camp finished. Lazio will go to Germany soon. Transfer market, not a lot have been going on, but there has been, 100 players linked to Lazio, something like that. And then at least. And then we have to talk about the friendly matches, because it's always friendly matches, but it's always important, right? And compared to last year, Lazio changed a lot of things, right? Because last year we were used to play the first 4-5 matches to non-league teams, while this year we already played against Triestina, Padova, so it was a huge step forward, I would say. Let's start from the transfer market, Alistair, because since the last pod, only a 16 years old player arrived, right? Luca Romero.
Yes, yeah, exactly. I mean, for a 16-year-old signing, it's quite an exciting one, though, isn't it? I mean, it seems to be something that's getting everyone very excited, but I guess this does tend to happen with players of that kind of age, especially when they've been dubbed the mini Messi, and it seems like there's been about even more mini Messis over the last 20 years than players linked with Lazio, probably. So I don't know about that, but you know, I think what we can say about him is that the reaction in Mallorca was very sad to see him go, for sure. He seems to be incredibly highly rated in Spain, where people have seen him play, even though he's only had, I think, 7 games, senior games for Mallorca as it is. But yeah, I mean, the strangest thing for me, Vittorio, is just that all of a sudden, with Raul Moro getting game time under Sarri and Romero coming in and playing, it's like this kind of new world where we have exciting young players to watch, and it feels like it's been so long that you've kind of been able to get excited about potential, because that's not really been happening the last few years.
Definitely. And the fact that, for example, Romero started instead of John in these friendly matches is something completely new for us. And Alistair, the fact that against Padova, the last friendly match, Raul Moro started in the second half, while Adekanye didn't play a minute, and Johnny as well. I mean, this tells you one thing, that Inzaghi is not there anymore, so youngster has really the chance to prove themselves. And second, that probably this guy already in the training has proved Sarri that he is capable, he has talent. This doesn't mean that he's the new Messi. This doesn't mean that he will start, but it's refreshing, right, to see finally have a youngster like that in the Lazio team.
Yeah, and I think of players like Moro and Romero at this point, I don't think there's really any point in them playing for the Primavera team, almost, because what are they going to get out of playing in Serie B for Primavera level? It's already not a great level of football that players struggle to step up to Serie A from. And now that Lazio have been relegated again, I just feel like they're going to get a lot more from hanging around in the first team, even if they're not playing a lot, than they will be from playing at that level. So it'll be interesting to see how he manages that, because obviously they do need game times. They do need to play 90 minutes every now and then to keep them going, and they're not necessarily going to get that next season. But it'll be interesting to see how much this kind of preseason is reflected in the reality. But yeah, I mean, so far, especially with Moro, Sarri is trusting him, isn't he? He's giving him a lot of starts, a lot of game time.
Yeah, he started, I think, pretty much all the last friendly matches. And this is a big change for him and for us compared to the Inzaghi's era. And I have to say that he's proved that he has huge potential. I would say that in front of the keeper, he's not cold-blooded. He missed a couple of very good chances, but he creates so many chances. He's so fast and talented, especially in the 4-3-3, where he can start wide open on the left side. He can be really, really dangerous. So, we saw Johnny, and I thought Johnny was a huge delusion, because I thought he could play in this 4-3-3, while in the friendly match where he played, he didn't convince me. He played really badly. So Raul Moro took his chances. And let's be honest, we don't believe that they're going to start, right? Because we have Felipe Anderson, we still have Correa. So they're going to be subs probably. But it's better to have those two youngsters than Johnny and I don't know who instead of them. That we know already what they can provide, right? What they can give.
Yeah, I mean, I do think that we still need another winger before the start of the season. If Correa goes, probably two. I don't think the squad's very well equipped because I think it's great to have those guys, but I don't think you want to start a new season relying on them and to be able to step up to that level. I mean, 17 and 16, they're so young. So yeah, I think that's still it's encouraging to have them in there, but I still think that by the end of Auronzo, we probably would have hoped to have a bit more shape to the squad than we do in terms of ins and outs. I still feel like a new midfielder is needed. I know there's been talk about Basic for ages now, and that's taking a long time if it is going to happen. I still feel a bit uncomfortable with left back if Hysaj is the only kind of left back. I know Maricic has been playing there a bit as well, and Radu could go out there, but it feels a bit of a weak area. Yeah, it's going to be interesting. I think from if there's some reports I think today or yesterday that the squad's going to be trimmed down for the Germany camp now, and that'll be a real indication of who's made it, who's passed the grade for Sarri, and who hasn't. So, I mean, you being the dedicated man that you are, I've watched every minute of this preseason. So, who do you expect to kind of be cut out of the squad if that does happen?
Well, one thing that changed a lot compared to the Inzaghi era is that in the last 4 friendly matches, Sarri started with what should be now the starting team, while Inzaghi was mixing it up a little bit. And so that can give us a clear idea of what Sarri is thinking about. And at the same time, another big difference is a lot of players haven't played in the friendly matches. So, for example, Durmisi, if we take off the first 2 friendly matches, didn't play a minute. Adekanye didn't play in the last friendly matches. Johnny, well, he has been injured, but didn't come in. So we can see that there are a couple of players that are probably already gone in Sarri's mind. I don't know. We know that one between Murici and Caicedo won't make the list because Sarri said he needs only 2 strikers. One obviously is Ciro Immobile, so that one could be another decision. I don't think, for example, Andre Anderson will make it, and Maestro, who came in and was immediately injured. So I think there are 5, 6 already gone.
Who do you think between Murici and Caicedo?
Well, seeing the friendly matches, I have to say that Murici played much better than Caicedo. I think Caicedo is not a number 9, and in a 4-3-3, you need a real number 9. So that's a little bit a disadvantage for him. And you could see it, especially in the last friendly match against Padova. Lazio struggled a lot in the first half, and a bit of that was because Caicedo didn't make the right movement. While in the second half, Murici played much better, was moving, was helping. So I would say, and it's funny to say it now after last season, but yeah, I think Murici it's a better solution for Sarri than Caicedo.
Yeah, well, yeah, I know what you're saying about the role. It was almost perfect for Caicedo, I think, in the 3-5-2, being the kind of strike partner role and having someone to play off and play around and hold the ball up for and kind of link up with. That really played to his strengths. Whereas, yeah, he's not had to do this at Lazio yet. This kind of spearheading through the middle. Then again, neither has Ciro Immobile, but he's obviously been doing it for Italy as well. So he's not a stranger to it. He's done it at Torino. I mean. Yeah, so I think that it's like you say, it is interesting that we're in this position of having this conversation because Caicedo has been such a loyal servant to the club and been so much better really than anyone expected him ever to be a few years ago. But there is an element, I think, where you just want to see some return on that investment as well. we can accept a bad debut season and getting used to the system, getting used to the league and the rest of it. I do think I've said all along. I think he's worth giving a second season to see if that was a blip or if that was the real Murici. And I think a change of coach is almost the perfect thing for him to feel like he's got a fresh start. So two very different options. So if those are your only two strikers and it's Ciro and Murici, it's two different game plans, isn't it?
Definitely. I think that Murici is better suited for the 4-3-3, but obviously Ciro Immobile is Ciro Immobile. I think he will do as well as usual. I think Murici will benefit from the wingers. We saw Felipe Anderson putting a lot of ball in the box. Same thing from Raul Moro. So definitely that's going to help. One thing, Alistair, that surprised me a lot in the last friendly match is that Patrick started instead of Vavro. Now, we were all believing that Patrick was a sort of brother-in-law of Simone Inzaghi. That's why he's always was starting, etc. Seeing Patrick there was a huge surprise, and not only for me. Surprising negatively for Vavro because he didn't start, and even with a change of manager, I don't know if, against Triestina, they scored twice, and I thought both of them were mistakes for Vavro. So I think that impact his relationship with Sarri. Let's put it like that. But Patrick starting, I don't know. I'm a little bit surprised, centrally especially because he played central defender close to Luis Felipe. So do you think he's gonna be the starting central defender if Radu's not there?
The whole idea of Patrick playing as a centre back in a back four makes me wonder: is there something that coaches know that we don't? Definitely. Or is there something really, really wrong with Dennis Vavro? I mean, what is going on here? I think we were both hopeful that that Vavro would have a decent chance to kind of show what he's made of this summer and play in a position that's more comfortable to him and more familiar to him. And I think we'll have to wait and see. I cannot believe, or maybe I don't want to believe, that Patrick as a centre back in a back four is a long-term solution here. It's making up the numbers a bit, but that's what it's another one of these positions. I feel like ideally I'd like another centre back because, we've kind of been through all this already. But if you're relying on Acerbi, Luis Felipe, and Stefan Radu as your kind of top three, all of those guys are either getting old or have injury problems, and it's not exactly that reliable. I don't want to end up in a position where we're starting against Milan in week 4, and we've got Patrick alongside Marisic at centre back or something like that. So, but I don't know. It doesn't sound like it's an area of the squad that we're really being linked with many players who play in that role. So it's probably wishful thinking.
Yeah, I mean, number-wise, we have them because Radu is playing central back. So there's Radu, Luis Felipe, Acerbi, Patrick, and Vavro. So we have 5. Probably Lazio need 4. Rugani has been linked with Lazio. We know that Rugani is leaving Juventus. He's not going to be staying there. Does Rugani convince you? Do you think Rugani is a better option? And would you like to have Rugani at Lazio?
Rugani is one of these players. I think I would take the gamble on the right terms. If you can get him for a very, very cheap deal, or if you can take him on loan with the option to buy or something like that, I think it's worth taking a punt on him because, let's not forget, he was one of the most highly rated, exciting Italian young defenders not very long ago. And obviously things haven't gone very well for him. He's not managed to convince anyone at Juventus. And I don't know. I still think that maybe with the right manager, there's a player there who can do a job. And even if that's as your number 3 or your number 4 in that lineup of centre backs, I think it's not a bad option at all. I wouldn't want to go out and spend 15 million euros on him, but I think if they can get a deal done, Yeah, I definitely welcome that.
I think one of the position we are not talking, anybody's talking enough, is in the midfield because yes, starting three. Well, I would say the starting two, Luis Alberto and Milinkovic Savic, are definitely probably the best in Italy. But we saw in the friendly matches that when the starting three with Leva comes off, the dip of performance is really embarrassing. Escalante didn't convince me. Cataldi, I don't know what he has, but didn't perform as well. The only one is Akpa Pro that is pressing very high and is running everywhere. But he's good when we are defending, but when we have to attack, he struggles a little bit to move the ball. I think Lazio should be focusing on signing not only one, but a couple of players there midfield. Basic could be a solution, but I don't think he will take the job of Leva. I think we need a playmaker in front of the defense because Leva is very smart, but he's not. He doesn't have the skill of Jorginho or Pjanic, just to remember the last two that play in that position in Sarri ball.
No, and to be honest, I'm kind of surprised that's not been talked about a bit more because that was always something. Whenever Sarri's moved clubs, it's always something that's been at the forefront of the kind of transfer market discussion. I remember, obviously when he went to Chelsea, there was he was desperate to take Jorginho with him, and they kind of pinched him off Man City, and Napoli and Man City have basically been not talking to each other ever since.
Yep.
And then at Juventus, it was a bit different because with Pjanic, I think you're trying to change his role, but certainly a player who he felt was more adept to change that role. And there was that famous line about how many passes he wanted him to complete in every single game. And but this summer we've not really had that. It's I think right at the start you were saying he thought Luis Alberto might do that in a kind of Pjanic way, but that's not been talked about. It's not been attempted, I don't think. And with Lucas Leiva there, like you say, it's a different player. It's a different role. It's not someone who dictates the tempo and gets hold of the ball and cleans everything up. That's he can do a bit of that, but that's not his skill set. So I don't know, unless it means a different way of playing or he's adapting to try and do something different. But I don't know. It's very, very difficult to get players with that skill set in the transfer market, though, isn't it? Who have that technical ability, that calmness, that composure, without spending your entire transfer budget.
I fear that Maurizio Sarri sort of understood the situation and understood that he will have to adapt to the players available to Lazio. I mean, he said it in the press conference. I know this transfer market is going to be really complicated. So, I would love to have them all available at the beginning of Auronzo. So we have to be honest. He had 4 players there, which for Lazio was something unbelievable. But I fear that he talked with Tare and he said, look, we are not able to do miracles. You have to adapt to what we will be able to bring you. So probably work with Leiva and try to adapt him to your ideas because we are not going to be able to bring someone else there.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. I mean, maybe Cataldi, he's been attempted there before. Yeah, I don't know. It's difficult to say, isn't it? I mean, I think to begin with, we all hoped Escalante would be the kind of successor to Leiva. Maybe he will, but not really seen too many signs of it yet. But I don't know. It is exciting to feel like now that Auronzo's finished, stage 1 is over. How would you kind of grade it so far in terms of what you've seen, how the transition's going? I did find it quite funny after the Padova result that you immediately have people on social media going back to 3-5-2, Sarri out, start again.
Alistair, sometimes I wonder, this Lazio fan, have they misunderstood? Did they think we were Real Madrid? A couple of them wrote, we need 2 central defenders, 1 left back, 2 midfielder, 1 striker, 2 left wing. Hey guys, what are we, Paris Saint-Germain? I mean, where do you get the money out of from? We never did something like that, and now suddenly You know, uh, I thought honestly the first friendly matches were unbelievable against Triestina. The first half, it was like playing FIFA. I mean, Lazio missed so many chances. We finished. Let's not forget that Roma a couple of days before played against Triestina and won 1-0 in 90 minutes. Lazio in the first 45 were 4-0 up and wasted a penalty and another couple of chances, right? So I would say that it started very well. Against Padova, we really struggled. I thought the first half was awful. But, these things can happen. And I think the first couple of months probably with Sarri will be very difficult. So fans have to relax, be very patient, because things cannot change in one day, switching from Inzaghi to Sarri. But I saw a lot of very positive things. And I believe that Milinko Savic and Luis Alberto can really improve with Sarri. And hopefully, if Felipe Anderson get back to his form, Lazio could be very dangerous. Obviously, the defense concerned me a little bit, especially if Patrick start. But overall, I thought I was impressed.
Yeah, I've been enjoying some of the stuff about the instructions that people are picking up on, or the things that Sarri is shouting at the players. In particular, one where he shouted at Hysaj. I think he kicked the ball long, and he said, "If you kick the ball long one more time, I'm going to give you a penalty against you." But yeah, some of the clips. I think there was one goal in particular in that Triestina game, which was just absolutely beautiful, kind of passing move, keeping the ball on the ground, and just working the way through them. Really, it will take time, though. You're right, and I did wonder after the Padova results if that's really a blessing in disguise. If it's a good thing really to have some bad results or bad performances in preseason, just to kind of temper expectations a bit, because I think that everyone's very right to get excited and to be hyped and looking forward to this new chapter and all the rest of it. But it is a huge change. It's a massive change. There haven't been big changes to the squad. So it's basically effectively the same group of players you're asking to play in a completely new way. And I don't think it's fair to expect that the start of the season, Lazio were immediately playing Sarri ball. I think we've said that since he was appointed. So I think that it could be a difficult season, the whole season, really. I'm not expecting everything to be set on fire and looking brilliant immediately. I think that it will take time and patience. So maybe drawing with Padova can allow people to recognize that a bit more.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, people were talking about Lazio winning the Scudetto after Lazio Triestina, and now we are a relegation team. So, I would put somewhere in between Lazio. But it's true that a lot of teams have changed the manager, but I think changing from Conte to Inzaghi, it's not a huge difference, right? 3-5-2, both of them very similar. Changing from the 3-5-2 of Inzaghi to a 4-3-3 of Sarri, it's another world. So, Lazio will have to adapt. And as we said at the beginning, at the moment, the transfer market is blocked. Lazio need to sign another couple of players. We have to see what happened with Correa. If he's coming back, probably there we are okay, but I think we need someone in the middle. So we're going to see if Lazio is going to be able to do something and to place all those players. Armini didn't go to Auronzo, so I think he's already out. King, same thing. I mean, Durmisi, I don't think he's going to be in the list. Lukaku said that he was going to Auronzo. He hasn't even been called for Auronzo. I think he's another player who needs to find a solution. I mean, it's going to be a difficult summer because not a lot of teams have money. And so to place Durmisi, Lukaku, etc., and get something out of it is going to be really, really complicated. But it's going to be fundamental for Lazio.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's the same story every year, though, isn't it? The kind of shifting the deadwood kind of stuff. It's always been like this. There's always far too many hangers-on in the squad who don't get dealt with, and that's one of the things, I guess, with it's a big part of Tare's job that he doesn't necessarily do very well is working out how to get rid of players or how to find new clubs. And I expect it'll be the same as most years, where we wait right until the end of the transfer window and suddenly everybody's off on loan to clubs in Belgium or to Salernitana. Oh no, we can't do that anymore.
No, that's a problem. That's a big problem.
So, yeah, the Salernitana Express has been pulled into the station. It's not leaving anytime soon.
Nope.
So yeah, exactly. That's a huge kind of cop-out option that we've had over the years that's not available anymore. So and yeah, like you say, the financial stuff around it's tricky for everyone. So, and some of these players don't have an awful lot of value really at this point.
Well, again, I'm not sure about that, because I mean, if Frabotta is able to go to Verona, then how can it be possible that Lazio is not able to sell Lukaku, right? I mean, Frabotta has been awful last year. How can he get a loan to another Serie A team, and we are not able to place Keane, Durmisi, and so on? At the moment, Alistair, the only player we were able to give away was Alia, the third goalkeeper that is going on loan, I think, in third division. So that's all.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I think with Lukaku, it's probably difficult by this point just because of his record, where he's not stayed anywhere for very long, for like 3 years now or something, and he's had injury problems, and he's just never really. I don't know. You kind of need to convince buyers that they're buying something worth buying, don't you? And with Frabotta, it's different because he's got youth and he's Italian as well, so he can fit into squads a bit easier than someone like Lukaku, who's got a longer record of inconsistency, I guess. But that's their job, that's what they should be doing. So yeah, it needs to happen, and it should have happened a bit before now, way before now, like 2 or 3 years ago. We should have sold Lukaku, to be honest.
Yeah, you could say it's Romelu, and then you said, "Oops, a mistake. It's a brother. You can take it." Right. They promised me it was Romelu. Well, he's gonna shoot this. He's gonna do the same thing, right? So,
yeah, more or less, very similar players. Very similar players.
He cannot be very different, right? Alistair, we have to talk about one of the new signing of Lazio, Hysaj, and not because of his performance, well, his singing performance, if you want, because out of that, a disaster happened. I still cannot believe it. And the problem is, Alistair, is that they speak for the Lazio community, which they're not. They are just some idiots that thinks that they are representative Lazio fan. Again, we of Lazio Lounge, we already tweeted when it happened. We are against these stupid things. Fascism is something that shouldn't be mentioned anymore in Italy, but all over the world. And this is simply a disgrace. And again, these people believe they are Lazio fan. They're only creating problems to Lazio and Lazio supporter.
Yeah, well said. I mean, yes, exactly. And I think that kind of tone of them trying to take ownership of the club, I think that actually really wound people up a lot. And the good thing to have come from what was an incredibly frustrating, to say the least, moment was that actually it really united the actual Lazio fans. And it was a pretty amazing response, I thought, on social media and so on, with the hashtag of, obviously, Io sto con Hysaj. And that was immediately trending, thousands, keep building up. And everyone really speaking out about this because, like you say, it's so easy for these guys. All they have to do is write a message on I've got a curtain here, write a message on a curtain, go down to the street and hang it up, and it becomes a global news story. They must be laughing about this because that's all they need to do. And they know they've got the power and the reputation that people will pick up on that. And then it's down to the rest of us to actually fight the battle for Lazio's reputation and fight the corner. And it's tiring, it's exasperating, it's frustrating. And at least the club eventually came out and spoke out properly against it. Took them a bit longer than I would like, but they got there in the end. But yeah, just an episode that was really ugly, and at least it brought the rest of us together.
Yeah. The only thing I would add is that it's very disappointed that all the Lazio website that talks about Lazio 24/7 didn't say nothing against this. This is really concerning me. Really, no journalist came out, write an editorial saying this is enough. So yeah, that's the most worrying thing about this. But I mean, I would hope that Lazio would banish them from the stadium, hopefully in the coming days. So let's see what happens.
Yeah, it's time for strong action. This can't keep dragging on. This can't keep rumbling on. This can't keep damaging the reputation of the club worldwide. As you well know, it's one of the first things that people associate Lazio with, and it's just because of this group.
Yeah.
And it's just because of this crap that they do from time to time. And it's maddening when you know what the Lazio community is like. And we've all our listeners, our community here is brilliant, and it's not like that at all. It's nothing to do with the identity of being a Lazio fan for all of us. And even in Rome, I know a lot of Lazio fans. I've met a lot of people here, and it's the same here. It's not true that, okay, that's a global Lazio community, but when you go to Rome, they're all fascists. Absolutely not. It's an ultras problem, and it needs to be stamped out. It needs strong action, because otherwise it's never going to end, really.
Yeah. I think we can wrap it up here. Lazio will leave soon to Mainfield. I hope I pronounced it right. Germany, the second leg of the summer training camp for Maurizio Sarri. Hopefully some new signing will reach the team there. Who knows? Well, definitely Acerbi, Immobile, and probably Correa would be there. So Sarri will have this full squad. And we're going to come back as soon as possible when there are going to be good updates, hopefully, transfer market news. So till then, guys, you can find us on iTunes, Spotify, Spreaker. Subscribe to our YouTube channel. And if you want to support us, patreon.com/Lazio Lounge. Membership starts at just $2 a month. Bye, everybody.